this should not have come out that easy, especially as you can see there, like I said, number 6 cylinder on 9600. Hello from the inside of the hopper of a combine. What we're going to be working on here is, if you see down here, we kind of got access to the engine, and I'm going to be working on pulling an exhaust manifold off, because we actually bought this thing and had a minor exhaust leak, and it only has gotten worse with age. But, well, today, hopefully we get it off so we can get it to a shop and have it planed down. Today's just been an absolute rodeo. So we got the new loader out of the shop. Everything was running really, really well. But once you know it, the next day we blew a brake line. You know, it just is what it is. Good news is we got it running, got it fixed, and got it running earlier today. And so everything seems like it's running out really, really well. It's Sunday evening, about 7:30 at night, going on 8. And I've been trying to get this exhaust manifold off all weekend because I just want to get this to a machine shop tomorrow. And so I'm going to start working on ripping this apart. But overall, probably wasn't the banner weekend as far as getting the most done ever, but it was definitely a very good weekend. Well, if you can tell, it's daylight, so it's the next day, and I'm going to try and get this apart. We just got 2 hoses, 2 clamps basically, and the oil return line to get off, and then we should be able to take it all as one assembly down, and I'm hoping that all goes smoothly. And so, yeah, we'll just see how this goes. Sometimes you learn some things just go way better in the daylight than evening hours. Hope this is one of them. Good news, we got everything off, and got 1 broken bolt that we're gonna have to drill later on the day, but right now the goal is to get these 4 bolts out of the turbo, get this off, and so we can take it to a machine shop and have them plane it down. And yeah, so we'll worry about that another day, and I'm gonna get this to a repair shop. Everything is going in the right direction. I just dropped the exhaust manifold off, and they thought they'd have it planed down by the end of the week. So hopefully over the weekend I can put that together. And just overall, Matt John Deere here picking up some parts, and overall just happy. Everything is moving forward. I got the call today that the service truck that needs a motor, they just pulled that in and are going to start working on that. We got another service truck down at another shop, and so those are all moving forward, and we're welding up paddles, and welder's running good, so everything is kind of clicking along, so pretty happy. Right there we have our exhaust manifold, turbo, and bag full of new bolts and new gaskets, and we got everything ready to be put on. The exhaust manifold, actually I was fighting that last week. We got that off last, I think, Monday. Got it to a machine shop so they could plane it down, and what that is that's basically they set the whole thing on like a big revolving sanding disc or belt sander, and just make all these exhaust flanges true, or kind of resurface them. And that way when you bolt everything together, it should bolt together really, really nice. So that's what we're hoping, and I think it will be. But yeah, overall pretty happy, and I'm gonna start lugging everything up. If you notice, everything's down here, and technically it's got to go way up there. That's the downside of combines, the height. I'm gonna start bringing all the pieces up there, and we're gonna start bolting this on and getting this thing ready to go, because I got bean fields that are turning yellow, and hopefully in another day or so we're combining. We'll see how this goes. That's the goal though. We are back working on the combine exhaust manifold. We have a broken stud bolt right there on the number 6 cylinder, and so we got to try and drill that out and get it out of there. And it's not terrible, but it's also a thing no mechanic ever really looks forward to doing. But I'm gonna get drilling. Right now I just took the die grinder and tried to center a hole, center kind of a groove on there. And yep, I'm gonna start drilling now and see where we get to. Okay, so even I'm going to admit it shouldn't have been this easy. This is a very small easy out. Usually you got to drill them more. Usually you got to drill them out more and then use a bigger easy out. And so usually when they break off flush like this, they do not come out nearly this easy. This should not have come out that easy, especially as you can see there, like I said, number 6 cylinder on 9600. Nothing crazy. I mean, this is stuff mechanics face every day, but it was kind of funny. As soon as it broke loose, I shot Mechanic Larry a video of it. It's like, you must have gone to church on Sunday to be that lucky. And I was like, okay. Does listening it on the radio count? Because Sunday morning I was in a loader, loading spreaders. But relative simple joke, guys. I hope you get that. But that shouldn't have came out that easy, but it did. And usually the number 6 typically will be the hottest. If you look here, the exhaust manifold goes from cylinder 1 to 6 and then out that way to the turbo. So typically 6 gets the hottest, and sometimes that can mean it's the most stubborn. But in this case, it came out pretty reasonable. So I'm gonna get some die grinders and some flap discs and start scraping and cleaning all that up. And I'm also gonna run a tap and die through each one of those holes, just so when we put it all back together, everything goes together as true as possible. So I'm gonna go grab some more tools and get rolling. Downside of a combine, it's not bad. Like, working on these isn't terrible. It's totally doable. But the downside is you're like a floor and a half up off the ground. You're probably right now, I think, about 8-9 feet off the ground. And so to get tools up here, everything comes up the ladder and then back down the ladder. So it's never quite as fun as a tractor, but doable. Good news, we got the exhaust manifold back on, and everything tightened down really nice and really true. And funny thing with this is, yesterday when I got that bolt out, that was by far the worst. The thing I was fearing the most of this. The rest of this usually bolts together pretty easy, especially after you get the manifold plane. Everything should be true. But even taking the time yesterday to run a tap and die through it and just clean up the threads just kind of verifies, or just kind of helps ensure that today goes smoothly. So there was a lot of steps in this, but it's not exactly overly hard. So the next thing we're going to start working on is putting the turbo back on it. And yeah, just kind of happy that everything's moving forward, and also kind of excited to hear this combine without an exhaust leak. I've never heard this combine without an exhaust leak, because it was leaking when I went to pick it up to buy it. So kind of happy, and yeah. All right, back to work. Kind of hard to see there. We got the sun going down to the west, but got everything back together, and nice feeling. Nothing went too bad. We just got to pull the valve cover gasket now and replace that, which usually isn't too bad. In this case, I got to take a bracket off, but should be pretty straightforward. I noticed that was leaking at the end of last year, so we're gonna replace that, because otherwise we had oil dripping down on this exhaust manifold, and the exhaust manifold gets really hot. So a combination of oil and bean dust, we don't want that on a very hot item. So we're gonna replace that, and heck yeah, I think tomorrow we'll be able to try this thing out. Nice feeling. I'm here with shop dog Kona. She's just kind of hanging out next to me on the floor. But you can see here I got the valve cover gasket, and it's kind of funny because like right here in the corner you can see where it was pushing out oil, and usually you'll see these gaskets actually like pushed out. This one is not, but it is really old, hard, and crusty, and it has John Deere paint on it, so I'm kind of figuring it's the original. But I'm gonna scrape this off and clean this up, and then the goal here before I end the night is to get this back on and everything put back together. Should take about 45 minutes to an hour, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I got the new gasket here already, and so life should be good. This, I think, was one of the things plaguing me on this combine for a little while, because a couple times I just couldn't figure out where the oil was coming from, and it was one of those leaks that just kind of happened every once in a while. It wasn't necessarily always when it was hot, and it wasn't always necessarily when it was cold, but we just knew we always had this weird oil drip. But anyways, I'm gonna get this put together and keep plugging away.